Okay, here with my buddy Lucy. We're going to see a couple of different triggers. First one is a squirrel, which she can be quite reactive to, usually up close, 20, 25 feet and in. The second one is a series of clips showing the same dog. Squirrels and dogs are different for her. Squirrels, she can be a little bit stocky, predatorial. So you'll see that she feels different when she's focused on a squirrel. With dogs, she likes dogs. So this is more of an overexcited reaction when presented with the other dog. Just some things to note. This was Easter weekend. She had a bunch of folks over her house, and the owner, before we even started, let me know that Lucy wasn't as crisp as she normally is. So that was good information for me when I started the session. And as soon as I got out, you know what? Lucy is not as crisp as she normally is. She was having trouble with squirrels from a distance. She was really fixating on squirrels, which she normally does, but she'll usually choose to look away from them. Today she didn't. That's important because before I start any session, I kind of have in my head my own baseline for how a dog normally does. I check with the owner, see how the dog is doing as we discussed. And then finally, I just really, and this is the biggest piece, I wait to see how the dog is doing and performing, and then I make my assessments and continue with the session from there. So this is a couple of squirrels into our session. Let's see how she's doing. Mr. Squirrel, hey buddy. Okay, she's fixated. From here, I really wanted to see if she would choose to look away on her own. Again, squirrel, she has a history of looking at squirrels and then looking back towards me to get a reward. It wasn't going to happen that way today. She was very fixated. Let's see. Okay. I don't know if you saw that little paw move. Just a second ago, that paw just kind of... that was me attempting to walk into her peripherals to see if that would prompt her to look away from the squirrel. It didn't. When I started moving closer to Lucy, she's like, thanks, I'm going to move closer to the squirrel. Not ideal, because I think as we get closer, I'm pretty sure as we got closer to the squirrel, and if I didn't interrupt her at some point, she would have had a reaction. So I chose to do this instead. Kind of launch a treat in front of her, and that's okay for me. That is a step back or a regression, but my main goal is to keep her under threshold. So I do it again. Treat comes in, I think. Yep, here it goes. She's still looking at the squirrel over here. And again, when I'm doing that, when I'm tossing treats, I am building a positive association between the squirrel and Lucy, and just pairing food with her looking and not reacting towards the squirrel. And I think that buys me some time. So I think, and who knows what a dog is actually thinking, but instead of focusing over here, we have such a history of rewarding, or she has such a history of being rewarded by looking back at me. So I think it slows her mind down a little bit. So instead of being so focused and really not thinking, she starts to think, and you know what? Every time I look back at this guy, he gives me some food. So at this point, I wasn't expecting her to look at me, so I just kind of walked into her peripherals, rewarded that, tossed away to create some distance, and then she's rocking and rolling. She's just a couple of steps backwards, regressing. It's totally okay to keep her under threshold, and then she's looking. And I mark her for looking and not responding. And again, anytime I give a dog a marker signal, my preference is that they disengage from whatever it is they're looking at. and then look back towards me to reward. I think if I had asked for the good girl early, as far as when we first encountered the squirrel, I think she would have blew me off, so I didn't opt to do it. I don't like to be ignored, and if she hears the good girl and doesn't respond, and if I let that go too long, it essentially weakens the good girl, so I'm very mindful of that. Later on in the session, this is the same walk. We encountered a dog up here. Let's see how she does. I was hoping she was having some challenges today. There's the doggo. Hey, buddy. Yeah, it was a good choice from her. And again, the distraction is the cue. So she has a nice history of being rewarded whenever she's faced with a distraction because that's what we've done. I give her a couple seconds to work it out on her own. If she didn't, I would have probably walked into her peripherals to prompt that. Here we go. And she just chose to sniff, which is totally cool. Okay, same dog. We had walked for 4 or 5 minutes. We've gone down a cul-de-sac. This is the same house with the dog. I did not know if the dog was out, but I was anticipating the dog still being out. Here we go. She's noticing the dog. Yep, right there. She saw it before I did. Looked right back at me, unprompted. Perfect response from her. There's the dog. Hey, puppy. And I like to, and she was having some challenges today. And again, this is not her normal baseline behavior, but because she was having challenges, I again threw food away. This was like 4 or 5 pieces that she had to go and forage and collect. I don't mind that at all because she had to take time and she can count too. She's pretty smart. If I throw 5 treats down, she's going to find all of them. But she took the time to eat them all. And every time or during the time that she's collecting the food, she's in the presence of the other dog. Totally okay that she can do that. What I don't want from her is to ignore this food and then disengage with the dog. I'm sorry, engage with the dog. My bad.
Let's go, Silly.
So off we go.
Good girl.
Good choice again. I'm going to reward. I was pretty comfortable with her behavior right there, so I just gave her a couple in place. Anytime, Lucy. Okay, same dog. We had just walked down here. Let's see. There's the dog right here. I was still feeling pretty good. Not great at this point because this was Lucy light for this walk. What I was hoping to do is just to get her to look at the dog and make the choice on her own to look back at me. And then I was going to create some distance and head across the street. Let's see how she did. Yeah, she wasn't having it. Okay, so that was a bad choice from me. I should have, in retrospect, probably just crossed the street and created some distance. It happens. Sometimes you get a little too greedy. Sometimes you think a dog is doing better than they are, or sometimes you just make a bad call. This was a bad call by me. It wasn't unsalvageable. So instead of just pulling her out of here and creating distance, I just simply walked into her peripheral, say, hey, remember me? Toss some food away to create some distance. And this is us creating distance. Hey, this is us creating distance going across the street. Same dog. We just cut off the sidewalk. And I'm getting out of dodge. I am trying to create as much distance as possible. But again, a regression for her. And she normally wouldn't need like hardly any food when presented with this dog, but she was having challenges today. So instead of having her react, when she made good choices, I would just reward her along the way. Here we go. And she's amped. She's having trouble today, but still making good choices. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Yeah, good stuff from Lucy. Okay, so it's okay if a dog, like people, we're not perfect. Sometimes dogs have good days. Sometimes they have more challenging days. This was not a bad day for Lucy. She just, again, she had guests over for all weekend. Her normal routine was a little interrupted, and that affected her behavior. She's very much a creature of habit. And when things are out of place, go figure, border collie, sometimes it can affect her behavior. So instead of just assuming that she was going to perform well in normal and usual situations, I let her tell me how she was doing just based on her behavior. She wasn't as sharp as normally, totally okay. So instead of letting her potentially react, I just dialed things down for her, made things a little bit easier, kept her below threshold, and had a pretty productive session. Not perfect, but very productive. Okay, looks pretty good from Lucy. Let me know if you have any questions.